Today in this video, it's a wind test as promised. It's a Hilleberg Red Label Soulo against the Hilleberg Black Label Soulo. The winds I've just measured, 29.9 miles per hour. The forecast is for 40. So hopefully we're getting a few gusts even around the 40 mile an hour mark. So I hope you enjoy this video. I'm going to show you setting the tents up in the wind. I'll look at the tents when they are guyed out and when they are not guyed out. And hopefully I'll even change the tents around so that they're sideways onto the wind to simulate a change in wind direction. Alright, so both tents set up here, just pulled in, not clipped yet. Obviously the black label on the right, and on my left then we have the red label. So we'll go ahead now and start clipping the tents. Alright, so just set up now. As far as I'm aware, I have both tents. They're not fully set up, but they're just clipped to the same height. Now, the wind is coming directly at me and the black label should be a little bit more exposed, but you can kind of see the red label isn't performing just as well in the wind at the moment. It's not a true test, you know, at the end of the day you're always going to guide a tent out, but it's just an example to let you see like against like, both tents are unguyed out at the moment. Now there are occasions when maybe the ground is bad and you can't get the tent guyed, or until you get a tent guyed it's a little bit vulnerable. So the black label certainly at the moment, even in 30 mile an hour winds, seems to have a slight advantage. But obviously in a moment I'm going to guy the tents out and we'll see what the difference is then. So now, as you can see, both tents are fully guyed out. I do actually think that the wind has dropped a little bit, which was due to the forecast. The forecast actually was that it would drop a bit this time. But you know, there's very, very little difference now in the tents, you know, whenever they are guyed out. This is a field test. I've only guyed the tent out at the moment on the windward side. The guy line angles may not be perfect, but I've tried to be as fair to both tents as I possibly can. I mean, obviously behind me here, because of the position of the black label, it's been impossible for me to get the red label guyed out at the right angle, but the pole is still getting some support, you know, with the actual guy lines. So what I'll do now is lift the camera off and go around, so to give you a few different shots and a few different angles of the tent. I don't think you'll see an awful lot more because they're both really, really stable whenever they're actually guyed out. Now I've set the tents up just to simulate that change in wind direction. I mean, normally the wind would maybe change by about 45 degrees. I've got the tents pitched on completely side of the wind, so it represents a 90-degree change in the wind. Realistically, you're not going to set the tents up like this, but the wind and outdoor conditions do change. The wind's actually playing in my favour a bit at the moment. It had dropped there for a while and now it's back up to about 27 mile an hour. So really just giving you a look at both the tents guyed out, you know, in this wind. I'll pop the guy off the side pole just in a moment and see what sort of difference that makes. So at the moment, both tents then just without that side supporting guy line. You can see them both and measure them both at once. I kind of can't from the angle that I'm at, but certainly it looks like the red one is just kind of deforming a little bit more in the wind than what the black label would be. The scenario was really just to demonstrate if you had a guy line failure or a peg pull out, the resistance of a tent to the wind without that guy line support. So now for my final thoughts, I hope you've enjoyed the red label against the black label. 30 mile an hour winds at the moment. So when the tents are guyed out, very, very little difference in performance. And that's kind of the thing right across board here. When the tents are guyed out, very, very little difference in performance. But certainly putting a tent up and until that guying point, the black label's a little bit easier and a little bit more stable. And then if you do have a tent pitched and you maybe haven't guyed it out or a guy line fails, the black label has a bit more resistance from the 10mm poles. So I hope you've enjoyed the content. Until next time.